Hey, Jono.
Hey, how you doing, Todd?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. It's good to see you.
It's good. Always
Thanks for
good to
being
see
at All
you.
Things Open.
Yeah, I would never miss it. So.
Yeah. So most people watching or listening are going to know exactly who you are. Very few won't, I venture to say, at this point in your career. But for those that don't, why don't we start on a very personal level?
Yeah.
And this may be somewhat unconventional. Tell me something that excites you or that you just get, I don't know, that makes you feel good. Maybe it could be from a technical perspective, it could just be from a personal perspective, just something that would personalize you.
Iron Maiden. I do love Iron Maiden. The thing that really excites me more than anything is, and it's going to sound honestly a bit cliched, is I think we all kind of go through our lives learning all kinds of things. Like we all come from different backgrounds and experiences. We try things that work or that don't work. And I'm really passionate about how do you get that out of people's brains into an environment where people can share and learn from each other. ATO is a perfect example of this. We do the Community Leadership Summit here, which is a good example of this. To me, figuring out how to systematically do that is what really excites me. And I feel like we're in the stone age of figuring that out. I feel like there's such a pathway ahead in how we get to learn and engage and inspire each other to do great work. And that is what has been my lifelong passion.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So why don't you tell us how you got to where you are today? I mean, I know your career path is very unique. You've been well known. You've done great things in the community space for a long period of time. I know, I won't steal your thunder, so to speak, but I know now you run a pretty well-known consulting company and you run that's focused on community. Maybe just briefly, how did you get, what have you done?
Yeah, I mean, I got involved in open source in 1998 when my brother introduced me to Linux, and he installed it on my computer and then left, and I had to figure out how it worked. And then, became very passionate about the community side of things, just because I couldn't believe that people all over the world built this thing together on the internet. And then, started out as a journalist and then went to a place called Open Advantage, then joined Canonical, helped build the Ubuntu community, XPRIZE GitHub, and then consulted for about 7 years because I've always enjoyed working with lots of different companies. And then I came to this realization that there's a massive elephant in the room with consulting, which is consultants give people information, but a lot can happen in whether that information actually gets used or not. And I came to this realization that what we really need to do is build a really hands-on relationship with people when we do consulting. How do you do that with a lot of companies in a way that's very personalized to them? And that's when I launched the Community Leadership Core last year, which is really figuring out how to design that and essentially productizing consulting, but in a way that's hyper-personalized to the individual. And that's been a pretty fun problem to kind of figure out. So.
Who's your target audience with that?
It's really... it's a real mix. We have big companies like ARM, Comcast, World Health Organization. We have lots of earlier stage companies as well. I think the sweet spot for us are either teams that want to build, tech companies want to build a relationship with a broader audience, want to build a broader audience, in which community is one component of that. We're actually going to be rebranding the company because we actually spend a lot of more time talking to people about how to do go-to-market and build great marketing that's very community-led as opposed to just doing community stuff. But I'd say the sweet spot is companies that know they need to build tech companies building an audience, so they've got some resourcing behind them. Usually it's venture-backed companies or they're bootstrapped to a certain degree, and then some bigger companies want to build, scale that out to a broader audience as well.
So I know you've been running communities, building communities, consulting other people as to how to do the same thing. What are some best practices, maybe just one or two, that if someone's spinning a community up, or maybe they're a long-time community organizer, best practices, things that could save them some time, or maybe some things you've gotten wrong, and learn a lesson the very hard way. I know I learned most lessons the hard way, right? So I'm sure the same goes for you. Yeah, why
do it the easy way? This is the key thing I would say, is a lot of people who build communities, and I did this for many years, do it on intuition. We should probably have a Discord, or we should set up a blog, or we should do social media. And in many ways, they cling to these darlings, even if they're not working very well. And what I've learned over the years is we have to kill our darlings, but we've got to be informed in how we do that. So this is what I would recommend, is first of all, figure out what is your goal? I call this an outcome, right? And for most companies, it's either sales, it's adoption, it's brand, or it's making something more efficient. So for most communities, it tends to be adoption, getting people into the community. The second thing is figure out like what are the channels in which you want to build around that. So that might be your Discord, it could be a YouTube channel, it could be a blog. And what you do is you measure the impact of those channels on those outcomes, right? So for example, if you want to build adoption, you want to get people into your community, and you're doing YouTube, and not that many people are going from YouTube into your community, but more people are going from your blog into your community, then focus on the blog, right? So we experiment with these different channels, we track the connection between them and your outcome, and you're just maniacal about like, kill the things that are not delivering on the outcome, right? A lot of the time at the Community Leadership Summit, we talk about which of these platforms are the most effective. And my view is, it varies from company to company, again, cut out what's not working for you. And when you test those different things, then you just end up working the most efficient way.
Sounds like maybe we could use your help, because what you said, at the beginning of that was most people, most time, people just operate on intuition, on what feels good or what they think might work well. And then, that leads to, I think, an elongated, really much longer than needed or necessary process, in which at the end, you're like, I'm not quite sure what we accomplished, and you've ended up wasting a lot of time.
Hey, this is Todd with All Things Open. Thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button. We've got a lot of new content coming we think you're going to be interested in. One final favor, be sure to go to allthingsopen.org to see everything that we do. Back to the video.
That's the thing, because intuition is cloudy, right? I went through this recently where I felt overwhelmed with a lot of the stuff that I was working on. And then when I sat down and actually crunched the numbers on what's leading to what, the things that needed the most attention were actually the things that weren't getting the most attention. Right. So a lot of our cognitive load is like figuring out prioritization when we've got incomplete data. So if you're tracking like, how effective is this thing at driving people to this thing, whether it's sales or your community, whatever, it removes all that cognitive load, and it forces us to work on the things that are most impactful.
We'll end on this. How can people find you, learn more about you?
So as the company's currently called, communityleadershipcore.com. I can't share what the name of the new company is because we're registering the trademark. That's where you can find us. And then for me, it's jonobacon.com. And then, I have such a stupid name that I'm Jono Bacon on all social media networks.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So thank you for hosting the Community Leadership Summit at All Things Open.
Thank you. Thank you to ATO for making it a breeze every year. We love what you do here. This is such an amazing conference, and I would not miss it for the world.
Well, you've done great work in the community for a long time. I'm a fan of your books. You're an author. Everything that you've done, I'm a huge, huge fan.
Likewise.
So pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, my friend. Cheers.
Yep.